Hello, YouTube divers. This is WaterDive122, and I want to welcome you all to another episode of Magic Metal Mondays. Today, we are going to be doing a album review from a death metal band. Yes, a death metal band. So, in case if you're wondering, we're going to be talking about Altars of Madness by Morbid Angel, released in 1989 via Earache Records. This was one of two. I do know that this is one of two albums that Morbid Angel released with Earache Records. I know their first two albums were released with Earache. But Morbid Angel is widely considered to be one of the greatest death metal bands of all time. I mean, a lot of people put them in the same league as bands like Cannibal Corpse and Obituary and Bolt Thrower and Death, of course, and so many more. And personally, I think it's deserved. Morbid Angel is a great band, even though, as I've said on numerous occasions on this channel, um, death metal, black metal, death doom, funeral doom, anything that's not melodic, I usually tend to avoid. But of course, Bathory made me change that, made me change my ways, and I guess a little bit of Cannibal Corpse as well. So now I'm going to dive into some more death metal stuff, and I decided what better way to start with more than with Morbid Angel. Classic band. Classic band. And this was their starting point, Altars of Madness. And I'd say, even though I usually tend to give debut albums a lot of flack, because it's the first album, the band has yet to find their sound, their albums get better as they go on, all that stuff. But here, I feel like Morbid Angel had a solid start. This is one of the few occasions where I believe a band debuted incredibly. And as of right now, Altars of Madness is one of my favorite debut albums of all time. I might make a separate video on that. Who knows? So, with that said, we're going to jump into the tracks. There's 9 songs on this album. All of them are really good. There's no filler or bad songs on this album. There's no bad songs on this record. So, that's one thing I will check off there. So, let's get into the tracks. This album opens up with Immortal Rights, and this is by far my favorite Morbid Angel song. This is a really, really great way to open up the album. And, this really sets the tone perfectly for what this album is. This album is, whilst it is a death metal album, it is also a thrash metal album, in my opinion, because there's a lot of thrash metal elements here. Now, of course, later on, Morbid Angel would go and be the death metal band that we all know and love, but here on this album, they combine both death metal and thrash metal, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about Altars of Madness, is that, it combines death metal, which is a genre that I don't hate, but I just haven't gotten into yet, combined with a metal genre that I absolutely adore, which is thrash metal. And, it's the perfect balance, and I kind of wish that I kind of hope that most of their other records are like this, because, as of right now, Altars of Madness is the only album I've heard from Morbid Angel. But I can't wait to listen to some more. I'll go in chronological order. And yes, I will even listen to Illa Divinum Insanus, which a lot of people say is their worst album. Who knows? It might prove me wrong. Anyway, getting back to the album. Immortal Rights, everything from the fast-paced vocals to the fast-paced guitar work to the fast-paced of everything on this song is just killer. I love this song. It's basically what got me into Morbid Angel. Oh gosh. So, yeah, Immortal Rights, phenomenal track to open up. Then, track number 2, it takes a little bit of a step back with Suffocation. Not a bad song by any means, but I'd say it's one of the weaker tracks on the album, but it's still a good song nonetheless. One of the thrashier songs on the album, that I'll give it that. And I say it's one of the weaker ones because track 3, the next song on here, Visions from the Dark Side, is killer. Absolutely killer. It's along behind Immortal Rights, I think this is my second favorite song on this album. This is a I don't know too much about like the classic death metal songs, but and Morbid Angel and Morbid Angel fans, please let me know down in the comment section below if you think that Visions from the Dark Side is a classic death metal song. As of right now, I certainly think it is. It's a killer. It's a killer song. Track number 4 is Maze of Torment. Now, Maze of Torment is also considered to be a death metal classic. Um, this song just hasn't really grabbed me yet. Um, like there's just certain parts of the song where I just feel like, okay, so there are just some moments out of the in this song that just kind of feel out of place to me, which is kind of weird, which is kind of strange when you're talking about a classic death metal album that is Altars of Madness. But Maze of Torment, it basically suffers the same problems as Suffocation, although I do think Maze of Torment is a better song. It just hasn't grown on me yet. Who knows? It may grow on me as my time with Morbid Angel continues to expand, but who knows? Just who knows? And then track number 5, another great song off of this album, Chapel of Ghouls. This is an amazing song, a phenomenal death metal song. And as of right now, it is one of my favorite death metal songs of all time. Yes, I did mention Visions, but I don't think it's as good as Visions from the Dark Side nor Immortal Rights. Chapel of Ghouls is a phenomenal track. One of the best on the album. Definitely put it up there with the two other tracks I just mentioned, although I don't think it's as good. And then track number 6, we get to the shortest track on the album, which is Bleed for the Devil. Now, this one is also a very weird song for me. Although, I don't think it is as heavy hitting as some of the other songs on this album. But it's not a bad song neither. Bleed for the Devil is a interesting song, but it just sort of feels like that it was a little bit rushed. It's a little bit too fast. In my opinion, they just kind of ran through that song. It's almost as if it's an interlude for the start of the second side of the album, or I don't know. Bleed for the Devil, it's a solid song, just not really. Just a little bit too fast as of right now. And like with Maze of Torment, I think it'll grow on me as my time with Morbid Angel continues to grow. And then track number 7, sadly I cannot say the actual title of this song because it does have a swear word and I do not swear on this channel. So I'm just going to replace it with Bam Nation. All you diehard Morbid Angel fans, you'll know what I'm talking about. But Bam Nation, as we're going to call it, is a freaking killer song. And it's almost as if that, so far this album is like a pattern. You have a great song, and then you have like a average song. Then you have another great song, and then you have another average track, and then you have another great song, and so on and so forth. But this is basically, in my opinion, where it continues. Like, all the songs from here on out are killer. There's no more up and down moments for the rest of this album. Bam Nation is definitely a big start here. It's a really, really, really solid song. And it's definitely, like with Bleed for the Devil, this is a very thrash metal type of sound. Almost like the Dark Angel territory. Ironically, these two bands have nearly identical names, but that's neither here nor there. Bam Nation, solid. And then number 8 is Blasphemy. Blasphemy, I believe that's the name. Yeah, Blasphemy. This song is freaking killer. I pretty much said that with pretty much all the standout songs on this album, but holy jeez, this song blew me away. Everything from the Dark Angel type of riffs to the to the heavy growls for vocals. I don't know names of this band since I just listened to them for the first time. But overall, Blasphemy is a freaking amazing song, and I love it. And then finally, track 9, Evil Spells. Um, Definitely top 5 on the album. Top 5 on the album. Absolutely. This song is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It is one heck of a closer, am I right? Um, and in my opinion, the fade out at the very end. Oh my goodness gracious. That was a perfect touch to end the album. A perfect way to end the album. I mean, not a lot of albums do that. I mean, that ending part blew me away. And it'll hopefully be a good transition into their second album, Blessed for the Sick, I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, Blessed for the Sick. Blessed for the Sick from 1991. And who knows, I will make another album review on that very soon. Um, so with that said, that is the entire album. So my final thoughts on Altars of Madness from Morbid Angel. Great. This is a great album. Not really, not phenomenal like some other albums that I've listened to. Um, but it is a great, great album, and I definitely say that. I definitely will say that it is a perfect start to my Morbid Angel journey. So, Altars of Madness, that this album gets a solid 9 out of 10. If some of these like average songs here and there like were executed a little bit better, honestly, this would be a 10 out of 10. Like, my only issue with this album is, like, some of the, like, this, like, Bleed for the Devil is just way too fast. It just goes by way too quick. Maze of Torment just hasn't grown on me yet, and, Suffocation is just, it's hit or miss. It's great, it's a good song, but it's hit or miss for me. But overall, for a debut album more released by a band in which I'm not generally a huge fan of the genre, this is a freaking great album, and I recommend to anyone who is just getting into death metal to check this album out. Altars of Madness from Morbid Angel, released in 1989. Solid, solid album. What more can I say? So with that said, that concludes this edition of Magic Metal Mondays. Thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is Waterdive 122 signing out, ready to dive and more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.